Hello, everyone. I think we're live now, Juliet, are we? Welcome back to our show of Saturday Morning Live. We are streaming live from Vienna, Austria, and I'm drinking my coffee, my friends, as usual, here in the beautiful capital city of Austria, that is Vienna. We're going to see if anybody joins us today, Juliet, or I'll be talking to Juliet, who is camera shy, as I've told you. So, what are we going to talk about today, everybody? As the month of August is slowly drawing to a close, perhaps not very slowly for some of you out there, and as the Dormition fast, for those of us on the older calendar, is drawing to a close, we will finally be celebrating the great feast of the Dormition of the Mother of God, the Theotokos, this upcoming Tuesday. Now, meanwhile, this weekend, tomorrow on the new calendar, you will have the great saints, the great martyrs. They're not called great martyrs, actually, as far as the status of martyrs goes, but Saints Adrian and Natalia. That's on the new calendar tomorrow. And we will have on the older calendar the leave taking of the Great Feast of Transfiguration. Just bear with me, I want to update you on what's going on. Hello, Tommaso and Cynthia and Phil. It's good to see you people have joined us. Now, I'm just discussing what the news is of the church calendar, because it's hard to keep track of it all, isn't it, when we have all these calendars, functioning within the church, and somehow we try to benefit from all of it, right? So I wanted to mention to you that tomorrow, or I already did, is also, for those of us on the older calendar, the translation of the relics of Saint Maximus the Confessor, a saint, an important father of the 7th century. And you see, Maximus the Confessor is also very important for our understanding of the divine liturgy and, of course, other elements of our sacramental life, that is our being in the church and as church. Now, as I'm mentioning Maximus, I'm thinking about today's reading. If you'll, everybody, just listen in, I'm going to do a little segment here about today's reading from an epistle of the great Apostle Paul that goes into the whole topic of mystery, which is topical for us also as we remember St. Maximus, because his commentary on the divine liturgy is called mystagogia or mystagogy, as are other commentaries explaining the mysteries or the sacraments. They're known as mysteries in the Eastern Christian traditions. Now, well, in the Greek-speaking theological mind, this is how they are called. I'd like to address this topic of what is mystery and to what extent it is something concealed from us, because also of today's reading from St. Paul. Could we put that up, please, Juliet? Thank you. So here it goes. I wrote a reflection about it today. If you follow my daily reflections, which you can do, by the way, if you follow me on Facebook, either my personal page that is entitled Vassa Laren, because that's my name, or if you follow the Coffee with Sister Vassa Facebook page, you can find the daily reflections on a bit of scripture every day. Or you can subscribe for free on our at our website just by typing in your email address there. Just type in your email address. It's that easy. And then you will get a daily email. Anyway, let me get to my point, all right? Because I want to address this. I think can be a confusing topic. What is mystery? And a popular misconception about it is that mystery is something that is unknowable to us. Let me read the passage from St. Paul where he mentions mystery or speaking in mystery. So here we go. This is from 1 Corinthians chapter 2. Just a brief reading, okay? Don't go away or fall asleep or start texting, all right? Because that's what some of you are going to be doing. Maybe not. Maybe it's just Juliet here that starts texting when I talk too long. She's not doing that though, is she? All right, but you guys don't know what she's doing. I shouldn't reveal it, right? Juliet is part of the mystery of this show because you don't see her face. How mysterious is that, right? All right, here we go. St. Paul writes in 1 Corinthians chapter 2, however, we speak wisdom among those who are mature, yet not the wisdom of this age, nor of the rulers of this age, who are coming to nothing, or who are coming to naught. But we speak the wisdom of God in mystery, and which was hidden, and which God ordained before the ages for our glory, which none of the rulers of this age knew, for had they known, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory. All right, so St. Paul, for some reason, is mentioning rulers of this age. He is appealing to our sense, our merely human sense of the importance of what those who are strong in this age think, and the kinds of causes that they might embrace, the kind of power they represent. St. Paul is appealing to our healthy sense of who the real boss is as far as the source of authority and power is in our hearts and to our minds. And that is, of course, God. And St. Paul is saying the wisdom of God, yes, was indeed hidden. Okay, it was hidden before all the ages in the mind of God. And the wisdom of God was revealed to anyone with the eyes to see, or with the heart willing to open up to that wisdom. That wisdom of God was revealed in the person of Jesus Christ, in the revelation that was his coming to us in the flesh, yes? And everything that he was and is, and his teaching also, but not only, his very person, and the consequences of communion with him, that is, oneness with our Creator and with one another and all creation. This coming to us is a revelation, and it is indeed hidden. It's hidden. It's both hidden, you see, and revealed in the person of Christ. Because Christ, the true icon of God, Christ both concealed in his humility, in his kenotic walking and talking with us, and being with us, and eating and laughing, I would presume. He was concealed from those who did not have eyes of faith. And such is the nature, everybody, of mystery, that it is something that is concealed at a certain time. And the fact of the matter is that it's not, in the sense of the church tradition and the God's wisdom revealed in the speaking of the apostles and others who embraced the revelation of God in Christ, that it is meant to be discovered by us. We are meant to open up to it, right? But that is a special revelation, and we do need to open up, and we do need to go to the trouble of being capable of receiving it. And so there is this whole system and wealth of tradition that is the purpose of which is always mystagogy. There is this concept of mystagogia or mystagogy in the Byzantine tradition, yes, and theology, that means literally introduction into the mystery or into the mysteries, or being led into the mysteries. The whole divine liturgy, actually, well, the parts specifically leading up to the anaphora, the whole structure of the liturgy, yes, and also the parts leading up to Holy Communion, is in and of itself mystagogy. It's all preparing us for the central part that is the anaphora or the Eucharistic prayer and the transfiguration of us and the gifts in this mystery that is revealed to us in communion with God. This mystery of oneness in Christ. Okay? So we are meant to be enticed by mystery to learn more, to know the wisdom of God. It's not unknowable, but indeed it remains concealed to those who are not interested in it, who are not enticed by it, or who may feel that they simply don't need it. But that need is something that is indeed subjective and can be felt or not felt depending on uh, the direction of one's heart. Okay, so I just wanted to say that about mystery, and to also add, my friends, that even the parts of our tradition are, if you're watching and you are of the Byzantine tradition, if you're not, then I'm glad that you're with us, but I'm saying our in the sense of uh, the tradition I belong to. In the Byzantine tradition, we have these aspects of our liturgical celebrations and other aspects of tradition, like, say, the iconostasis, the icon barrier, right, or wall of icons that we see separating the sanctuary or the altar from the nave of the church. These, this does indeed conceal at certain times and certain moments parts of the celebration of the mysteries, right? But it's not there indefinitely to conceal from us something that we're not supposed to know. It's there in order more easily to reveal at the proper time with the various exits and processions, say with the gifts and other kinds of processions, not during the Eucharist but other celebrations. These are epiphanies meant to reveal at the proper time after proper preparation certain truths, certain bits of the wisdom and light and truth of God. All right? So that's it about mystery for today. That was my little thought based on this reading of St. Paul, who talks about how the apostolic teaching is spoken in mystery, right? And it was indeed hidden before the ages, but in the era of the church and in tradition, it is revealed, it continues to be revealed, and it continues to reveal and open up to us when we open up to that light, the person of Jesus Christ and all of the consequences of his light, of his cross, and the lightness of his cross, right? All right, so enough on that topic. I'd like to cover just a bit of news, everybody, from this week. Yes, I do realize that the Pope is in Ireland, but that story is still unfolding, and I'm not going to cover it. What I'd like to cover, first of all, could we remove the quote? Thank you, Juliet. See, Juliet is really quick to the draw, right? She had that done before I even finished saying it. So what's the first thing I'd like to tell you what happened this week that not many of us, I think, are aware of? Perhaps everybody is aware. But this past week, everybody, was the big celebration in a completely different religion from ours. Not completely different, however, but a big deal in the Muslim world, everybody, is the Eid al-Adha. There it is. We've got a picture for you. That looks almost like, like an, well, a bit like a prayer rope in our neck of the woods, right? But there you have a Muslim text, right? An Arabic text. We'll presume that's the Quran. Anyway, this celebration of one of the main festivals of Islam, see, we became aware of it. Well, I did more acutely this year because of the many refugees that have flooded European countries, including Austria. We do some volunteer work helping to teach German. Well, that's my little 2 cents that I try to do my part. Uh, Believe me, I don't do enough of it, but a little bit to these refugees who can't do anything, who lost everything in their countries. And so we get exposed to some of the realities of their family life, and some of the realities of their faith. And so a lot of these refugees in our midst were quite sad this week. This festival, everybody, or Al Adha, is the final day of the annual pilgrimage to Mecca, that is the Hajj. You see, they have a movable feast, it's a movable date. It's 5 days within the last month of the Islamic calendar, actually. Note that they're in the final month of the Islamic calendar, just as in our church, August is the final month of our annual, church calendar. So anyway, I'm just throwing that in there. But the Hajj has to be completed once in a person's lifetime, and it has to be done at this specific time. And let me just mention that it moves. Why? Because the Islamic calendar is based on the lunar calendar. So the actual date of the Hajj is different every year. Also reminds us of our lunar-based calendar of Pascha, right? That's why Pascha moves every year as well. Well, anyway, we're made aware of this feast. By the way, 2.3 million Muslims made the trip this year to Mecca in Saudi Arabia. Why am I covering this? Well, it's big news, right? It affects actually a lot of people's lives, and some of the details of the rituals surrounding this are very interesting to me as a liturgiologist. So bear with me. If you're not interested in it, then fine, all right? But I got interested in it this time. So here's what I learned. First of all, that they're sad because the refugees I have to do with, happen to be from Syria. The war has consequences that many of us might not personally see, but it's broken up families. It's diminished families, not only through death, but through separation. The family that I recently was working with, they have siblings, for example, with many children, because these are people who have lots of children, right? And no single country in Europe takes on all the refugees. Often they'll get sort of taken on by different countries. So, for example, in a family, that I know, the father has his 9 siblings spread out across different countries and cities, and his nephews and nieces are all over the place, and they get a little sad. It's like for them, this feast would be like almost, I would say, either Christmas or Thanksgiving, like a really family feast. So it's whether or not you did the Hajj. Like I said, 2.3 million people did this year, right? And on the last day, they consider that to be the day or the festival of Adha, which means sacrifice. It's the festival of sacrifice. They believe that on this day, Abraham made or was willing to make, yes, the sacrifice of his son, Isaac, but God stopped him, and Abraham ended up sacrificing I don't remember exactly, but an animal. And so Muslims on this day actually, if they have the means to do it, sacrifice some animal. All right, so actually you can see pictures of all these slaughtered animals, and you could see a picture of, say, a sheep on greeting cards for El Adha, and on the final day of the Hajj, so people who go there this lasts for several days, right? And then they celebrate. They celebrate all across the world with this El Adha feast, and they go to one another's houses. But anyway, our friends, some of the refugees here, like I said, are would be remembering, you know, those no longer with them because of the tragedies of the various wars and troubled regions, from which they have fled. So, anyway, I thought it interesting to find out from some of them. Like a young woman told me, this young Muslim woman whose husband happens to be in jail, because sometimes they also get involved in, you know, they try to make money somehow, not always legally here. So, anyway, her husband landed in jail, and she's telling me how, yes, they, and this is what they do on the day, it was this past Tuesday, they fast the previous day before this festival. She so and then early in the morning, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, they go to the mosque, and like in other religious traditions, they have plenty of Muslims who don't do it because they're not pious and they're not really practicing. But she was telling me how, yeah, she didn't go this year, and she didn't fast because, well, she talked about this quite, she's not shy about it. She's like, and her father's there and her brothers and sisters, but she's like, yeah, because it's that time of the month. So I said, oh, so you don't fast when it's that time of the month? Because in the Orthodox churches, there are these rules about certain restrictions on women. It's called the rules of ritual impurity. But I've never heard that one is, you know, dismissed, or how do you say, excused from fasting. So a Muslim woman doesn't fast, nor does she go to the mosque, um, you know, at that time of the month. So, I, I'm just mentioning to you how sometimes it's a little bit, I don't know, it's weird, I would say, to come into contact, also dressed as I am, with a Muslim woman, and to hear some of the traditions they have, and some of the discussions they have. You know, um, they have the whole head covering discussion going on. They have very similar neoconservative sort of, uh, you know, phenomena in their world, just as across the board, I would say, in our Christian churches we have. We have, there was the era of Vatican II in the Roman Catholic world, and it's the old folks today that are more progressive thinking, and one could say more, yes, more progressive and less conservative than the younger people. I would say across the board, also as I'm discovering, in the Muslim world. You know that in Turkey, since Ataturk, there was secularization, and the older generation would be more, was used to no head coverings. If you're enrolled, even, I don't know how it ended, but just recently, there were protests from the younger women who wanted to wear their headscarves and even, cover their faces and stuff, except for the eyes, um, which is a resurgence of this kind of external piety. And I think really a desire to be more defined in one's identity according to externals. Why is this happening? Well, I'm not going to pretend to have, the big answer to this, but I'd like to throw in my observation that I think, sorry everybody, but since you're listening to this, you're going to hear it, right? I think it's because of a very disorienting time that we live in, particularly those people scattered outside of their home countries. And they are influencing also the home countries to become more conservative, because as we're scattered, or we don't even have to leave the home country to be scattered, say through internet, through being exposed, even as we are, right? We're exposed to cultures and faiths and phenomena that in previous generations we never would have been exposed to, right? In ways that can be disorienting for our own identity, because one starts thinking, oh my goodness, am I even really like, am I Eastern? Am I Western? Is there such a thing as a purely Eastern person when internet, and other things of popular culture sort of level the playing ground in certain ways? Wherever you are in the world, you might hear certain types of Western music. Although, actually, in the Muslim world, they really stick to their music, as far as I've heard. Um, but yeah, you'll find similar types of dress, similar types of, uh, you might find ketchup in cultures where you don't expect to. But anyway, and so I think that for certain people, if you couple this with the trauma of having lost everything, like some of these people from Syria, they had everything in Syria. These are a proud people, these are a very cultured people, people who have a faith that's really in everything that they do. Their ways of talking, the way they'll say, even of swearing, like wallah, wallah, they'll always be saying. The normal greeting, or anything, if they're answering, how are you? They'll say, Alhamdulillah, glory be to God. Um, these people had this thick culture, and the family I know, they owned a hotel back in Damascus and had this and that, you know. Anyway, and then they lost everything, The grandparents are stuck in Istanbul, penniless. From here, this family, the sons, the daughters, they try to work and to send money over there. Anyway, the two of the brothers were actually killed in the war. Um, I'm losing my line of thought here, but it's heartbreaking, and so I just noticed some of the interesting parts of also how they some of them try to find and reaffirm their identity in taking up a notch certain externals of their faith tradition. So you'll have older women saying, we never wore this, head covering, um, say in Turkey, and didn't strive to. And some women are saying, similar to the way these discussions I find are held in our church traditions, they'll say, one sees, women saying this, women of a certain type, I don't want, my loyalty or faith in Allah to be uh, defined by the way I look. I don't think that that's what defines or proves my faith. Um, and then others will say, no, well, you're not bearing witness, to who you are, or you're betraying who you are, or you don't want, or you're ashamed, and stuff like that. Um, so anyway, as far as the Hajj goes, I know this is a little bit incoherent, but let's put up everybody. I mentioned that pilgrimage, right, to Mecca. We'll put up this Hajj pilgrimage picture. So you know that, like I said, the Hajj actually finished this year on Tuesday, right? So in the whole world, they celebrate. In Mecca, actually, those who made the trip, the men shave their heads at the end of it, and women will just usually cut the tips of their hair. Anyway, when they get to Mecca, this is like a 5-day thing, they have to circle this. You see the black box thing, the Kaaba, they circle it counterclockwise 7 times. So this, I mean, you do realize that Islam did not originate in a vacuum, but in a world that was very much so Christian, not in that area specifically, but there were lots of Christians and Christian traditions. So circling the church, by the way, counterclockwise, there was a whole discussion in medieval Russia as to whether it should be counterclockwise or clockwise. It wasn't called clockwise. It was called Posolon or near Posolon, which is according to the rotation of the sun or not. Anyway, as it happens, we do circle the church, say, on the Paschal procession, uh, counterclockwise. So that's one of the things they do. And they do the first several rounds around it. And as you see, there's millions of people there, so it's not easy to do. But they're encouraged to do the first several rounds quickly, in other words, in a rush. And that's to symbolize their eagerness to serve God. And the whole circling around this Kaaba, which is Kaaba. I'm sorry, I know I'm saying it wrong. So it's the Kaaba, which means house of God. And Muslims believe that Adam first in this very place uh, built an altar, right? Or built this Kaaba. And then Abraham was ordered to do it again later. And anyway, throughout the centuries, they believe there accumulated there actually a place of pagan idols. So, it wasn't the true God, as they believe Allah wasn't worshipped there. So it was Muhammad who comes along in the 7th century, right, who cleared the place. I believe it was in the year 630 or so, cleared this place of pagan idols and reconsecrated this Kaaba to Allah, all right? And so another thing that they do, I don't know if anyone's complaining that I'm talking about this. Well, we'll find out later, all right? If you guys are mad at me for talking about Islam the whole time today. I won't only be talking about this, but I find it fascinating, like I said. So what do? These pilgrims to Mecca who have to abstain from certain things, right? They can't, like if they're married, they abstain from sexual relations. They wear a special white garment, 2 white sheets actually, seamless ones, to represent purity as they make this pilgrimage. All right, so the wearing of a white garment in connection with a religious ritual is obviously not unique to Islam, or say to our rites of initiation of baptism. Although this is very different. This is not a rite of initiation. But one of the things that is being accomplished by this is oneness. It's the focus of the pilgrim circling around this, what they believe to be the one temple to the true God. Well, the center of sort of of where the prophet established, reestablished the worship of the true God, as they believe. This is reaffirming the oneness of Islam, okay, based on the oneness of God, according to their faith. Another thing that they do, everybody, is that they will also drink from a well, this holy well that they have there. And this is the Zamzam well. Do we have a picture of it, Juliet? She's on it. Thank you. So this is the Zamzam well. And according to their tradition, here is the spot, not far from what I just showed you. And it's all, by the way, it's all under the roof of the biggest mosque in the world that is in Mecca. And so the different sites that are holy for them, not all of them though, I'll mention some that aren't within this big mosque, but this is, and they drink the water. Let's show some women drinking the Zamzam water. It's funny, it's funny sounding to my ears. They're drinking this Zamzam water, so they have something like holy water. And then they do this, they have this ritual of stoning of the devil. And there we go. There's these 3 pillars. It looks like something from a movie, right? But they have these pillars and they throw pebbles at them for hours, I think. Not only on one day. First, pebbles are thrown on the central pillar, and then the next day somehow on the other ones. But so they're symbolizing their resolve to, to fight the devil. So there you have that. Um, yes, I would pray that in all of the Islamic world, one would only stone pillars, right? And not human beings. But yeah, is that an unfair comment to make? No, it's just a comment about some of the phenomena that go on in this culture. Not, by the way, in the people I've come across who seem to be of very balanced and views, as far as I can see. Hmm. All right, everybody. Anyway, I've gone on and on about this. Let me just tell you. So there you go. This week, and it's now the end of a several-day feast that marks the completion this past Tuesday of the Hajj. That happens once a year. It's a movable feast. That's a big deal for a lot of people in the world, and I just thought I would share some things that I've learned about it. And people go to one another's houses, and I was invited also to go to one of these celebrations in a family here of refugees, and they make traditional. They have these shortbread cookies that have a filling that I bought here. I bought it for Juliet to try. Um, I don't know what their cookies are called. But anyway, so these people have been doing for thousands of years. And in case you didn't know, for them it is the year 1439 now, according to the Islamic calendar, because the Islamic calendar is counted from the year 622, and that was the year of the Hijra. And the Hijra was when Muhammad took his group of followers, left Mecca initially, right? Left Mecca to move to what is now called Medina, but it was then called Yathrib, and he formed the first Muslim community there, the first Ummah, as they call it, which interestingly was inclusive of both Christians and Jews, and then that was to to change in some ways, because there was a conflict, if you know the history, while Muhammad was still alive, with the Jews who betrayed him in his ongoing war with Mecca. So anyway, okay, that's it. So if I just wanted to make the point that if you find some of their traditions perhaps antiquated, well, we should understand that for them it's still 1439. Was that a sarcastic comment? I don't know. You're not supposed to be able to tell. All right, everybody. So, what else will I tell you from the news? We're taking down the pictures from Mecca, and if you're Muslim, I really doubt anyone is listening who's Muslim, but Kul am wentum bikhair, which is the greeting for this feast. All right, Kul am wentum bikhair, and God bless you, right? Okay, so just this little story. Oh my goodness, 37 minutes already, and I haven't commented on your comments. Should I tell them about the story of coffee? All right, just quickly, everybody. One more story, all right? Here in Vienna, this only has meaning for us in Vienna, but I want to share it with you. These stores, these shops called Tabak Traffic, they're all over Vienna, and they have a monopoly, actually, on selling cigarettes. There are exceptions, but anybody else who sells cigarettes, like gas stations and, I don't know, there are restaurants and pubs that sell cigarettes, they're not allowed to sell them at the same price as these stores. Wait, I'm disoriented because I see the mirror reflection. So these stores have a monopoly, and why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because now it's like big news for the Viennese. They've announced it in the newspapers that from September 1st, these cigarette places, they also sell lottery tickets and newspapers and magazines. So I don't know what to compare it to in other countries. It's more, I don't know what it's like. They don't usually sell they don't sell food, for example, just chewing gum. So anyway, they've announced they had a big discussion about it. It's been controversial. They discussed it with the Chamber of Commerce. This monopoly of tabac stores, tabac coming from an Italian word actually, not tabac, but traffic. It comes from an Italian word that means trade. So it just means trade in tobacco. So anyway, they decided they're going to be selling coffee to go. That's the big news. And so some of the coffee houses, the cafes, I mean, because that's a big deal in Vienna, aren't happy about that. They don't want there to be this other place where people can get coffee, even though, yes, they already have Starbucks here. They have other places that sell coffee, right? But for each tabac traffic store to be selling coffee to go is sort of against, because this is a purely Austrian phenomenon, these little shops, right? They're sort of a community, little bit of a community building thing. I mean, that one might think that that's strange, but people who come to get their newspaper at one of these places, they will have long conversations with the lady who works there. For some reason, it's usually ladies, people who buy their lottery tickets there. But anyway, it's a big deal for this place, very sort of recognizable and sort of a landmark. Well, I don't know if you could say landmark, for Viennese culture, is going to sell coffee to go, and it's against some people's idea of what the coffee culture is in this land of beautiful cafes. All right, was that a fun story? I don't know. I made it really long, and it's really about practically nothing. Do you like that? This is becoming is this going to be a show about nothing like Seinfeld? I don't know. I don't think we have that kind of talent. Um, so let's get to people's comments. Even though I was going to have another story, and I was going to tell you how we've discovered that amazing Israeli Netflix series called Fauda. So we'll just put a quick picture up of it, but because as you see, I keep saying I'm going to get to your comments, and I'm not getting to them. Do we have Fauda? Juliet, please put it up. Thank you. So just check it out. I'm not going to comment on it now. Maybe we'll get to it next time. If you haven't seen this, everybody, it's really amazing. Check it out. It's not for the kids. It's violent, but it's really well made. All right, take it down. That was a brief mention of a series that we recently discovered, and I think it's amazing. All right, so we've said hello to Cynthia, Phil, and Tommaso. It's good to see you guys. Let me see who else is with us. Maria, Hooper, Dobry Zane from Canada. Well, Dobry Zane, Maria, it's good to see you. I don't think we've seen you here a lot. Richard Rowland, good morning. Christ is risen. We are having the Easter greeting from Richard. It's good to see you, Richard. Thank you for joining us. Ekaterina Bru says, hello, Sister Vassa. And Teddy Theodoris, Marcy Shore from West Virginia, Julie Lucky, and we have Tommaso again saying that St. Maximus is one of his favorite saints. Oh, Nightingale 1962, Kalimera, everyone. Kalimera to you as well. Cherry Chapman, hello. See, the usual culprits are here. Good afternoon, Sister Vassa. Your reflections always nourish my soul and bring me comfort. Well, thank you for that, Sherry. David Bullock, buenos dias from GDL. Oh, David. David recently wrote to me elsewhere, shared his story. It's good to see you, David, once again. Thanks for writing to me as well. Michelle Kochov-Platt, thanks for expounding upon your daily reflection in today's SML. Well, you're welcome. I've been thinking about it, as you see. Juliana Cvejic is here from Serbia. Hi, dear sister. Always nice to see and hear you. Well, I'm glad you're with us again, Juliana. Women power at Coffee Central. Thanks, Juliet, says Cynthia. I think we just woke Juliet up, everybody. That's not true, is it? No. The mysterious Juliet. See, you people don't know what she's doing here, right? She is mysteriously behind the scenes. Marcy Shore, I am so glad that you are unpacking the liturgy, the tradition. I attended a Christmas Eve service with a Coptic Christian sister friend several years ago, but did not then understand the beauty. All right, Marcy. Cynthia's saying, I had a friend who was Islamic and did it with her mother. The pictures were fascinating to see. Oh, Cynthia, you're saying your friend went to did the Hajj with her mother? Yeah, fascinating. I actually haven't met any Muslims who've done it already. So, Matthew McLaughlin. Good morning, Matthew. He's saying, "Good morning, sister. I'm having coffee too as we speak. I hope you have a great day." Well, thank you for that, Matthew. Marcy is saying, "Thank you for sharing the stories of others from different traditions. I hear your empathy and compassion for their varied and often difficult experiences." Oh, and Ami is. Anyway, thanks for that comment, Marcy. You know, you are always commenting in very encouraging ways. You encourage me, as do the rest of you people. Um, is that a good thing? I don't know. Some would say don't encourage her, right? But I'm glad for the encouragement. Ami is saying, "Good morning, sister." Good morning, Ami. I'm glad you're with us today. Marcy says, "And I love hearing you speak from your knowledge, perspective, and experience gained through your extensive liturgical studies. Definitely going to listen to this show again." Oh, all right, Marcy. Um, okay. I don't always listen to it again. I've watched some of them again. Sometimes I'm like, no, that's what I sometimes think. Like, oh, don't remind me of what I said in that show. Um, Julie Lucky, Paul Reedy. Oh, we have a lot of new people here. Paul Reedy, Paul Reedy. Hello, Paul. Paul's a good friend of ours. Thanks for mentioning the day of sacrifice. Right, the festival of sacrifice, and thus helping the zillions to see the same humanity we share with Muslims. Right, right. That's why I mentioned that show also, by the way, Fauda, that I put up here. FOU. Is it FO or FL? I don't know. Anyway, we got hooked on it here and we watched it. It's made by Israelis. It's only in got 2 seasons so far. Maybe everybody knows about it, but it's made with incredible compassion also for the Palestinian community, and it's 75% in Arabic, which is amazing. They have Palestinian actors and actors and actors. We have to say nowadays. We can't say actors and actresses. Why does that annoy me? I don't know. I don't know. You know, I think I'm going to start a movement, everybody, that we in our churches don't say amen, but people. I don't know if it's going to catch on. We should say people from now on. Would that be annoying? See, I think that some of these things are annoying in that way. Did anybody understand my point? Probably not. I don't know if there was a point. All right. So, who is with us? Um, anyway, I was saying that the actors and actors in that show are amazing from both sides. Belated greetings from Luxembourg, says Yvonne. Hello, Yvonne. It's good that you're with us now. Julie Lucky, such sad suffering, offering up prayers for them. Thanks, Julie Lucky. Yes, it's heartbreaking. The trauma of these misplaced persons from that world, largely Muslim. Of course, many Christians have been misplaced from those regions. But, you know, the war has not distinguished against the grief and trauma undergone, by Christians and Muslims alike. And I mean, need I mention the Jews in Israel and elsewhere? You know, these these man-made, disasters don't distinguish between the various peoples and their beautiful cultures and families and everything that they built up. I mean, when you see some of this, some of these people that I've been meeting, some of them sometimes talk about things. Marriages have been split up, you know. Um, just yeah. Anyway, everybody, we are exposed today because of the news, because of globalization, because of the misplacement of peoples through war and other tragedies. We're exposed to so much information and suffering. I said it in our audio podcast for this week. We do have audio podcasts, by the way. So sign up if you want to hear more about this. But I mentioned the fact that information brings suffering. Yes? Knowledge brings suffering. And God knows that about us. We do have difficulty in maintaining identity. We don't see in black and white the way many previous generations did. And, we see gray sometimes, gray zones where previous generations didn't because of a lot of information that we have and exposure to to difference. And God in his mercy will judge us accordingly, because we might strive to to dismiss the shades of gray because of, please, everyone's going to think of that book now, but try not to think of that book when I say shades of gray. um, Did I need to say that? I didn't need to say that, right? Um, but God will judge us in his mercy, knowing that we carry that additional burden of TMI, too much information, okay? So we have to give ourselves a break about that too. So fascinating parallels, Danielle Miller is saying. Hello, Danielle. Yeah, parallels between religious rituals, right? Good morning, says George Fedias. Good morning, George. All right, everybody. I have to wrap this up. Paul Anufri, hello. Hello, Paul. It's good to see you with us. I actually learned about Islam, says Paul, and other religions during my world cultures class in the 10th grade. All right, Paul. Well, sorry if this was like a trip back to the 10th grade, right? Susan Yoder, terrific timing. Father Biantoro just visited in Indiana. He is also able to observe and articulate parallels in our beliefs. Marcy is saying, it's okay, Sister V. Now we'll know about the whole coffee shop thing when we come to Vienna. All right. Well, you come on over, Marcy. Susan Yoder, tagging on to last week's SML, please consider a sister presentation to the topic, Praying the Hours. Appreciating the meaning of numbers is an unmet need. Susan Yoder, you're saying please consider a sister presentation on praying the hours. We do have a video, a Coffee with Sister Vassa video, here on YouTube, all right, available to you. Wait a minute, we didn't put the link to Patreon with the podcast. Everybody, I mentioned the audio podcast. I need for you, please, to support us and subscribe. Only $5 a month, all right? Or for $10 a month, it's really nothing. It is really nothing. You get, for $10 a month, access to the Divine Liturgy video course. All right? We are about to put out a new liturgy video. Okay? It's on the call to guard the doors. The doors, the doors. In wisdom, let us be attentive right before the creed. Okay? And it's all about this topic that I talked about today, about concealment of the mysteries. Or what does that mean, right? Because the doors, anyway, I go into it in the video. All right, so sign up here, www.patreon.com/Sister Vassa. Okay, sign up. Why not? Why not? Try it. You can always unsubscribe. All right, but you'll like it. You'll like it. All right, excuse me. Maria Hooper, thank you for your greetings, sister. I listen often, but do not have anything to say. That's fine. Sometimes I think I could perhaps try not having anything to say. Acting people, people, yes, we understand. Cynthia, I don't know what you're talking about here. All the leaves are brown and the sky is gray. Okay, all right. So, yes, okay. These are lyrics. Okay. Anyway, everybody, I love you, people. Thank you for tuning in. Do sign up for the audio podcast. Do get the book. It's back to school time. All right, it's back to school time. Be equipped, or equip your college student going away to college with a book of daily reflections, reflections with morning coffee. Could we put the website link? Go to our website, go to our gift shop. Everybody, we need your help to keep going, all right? So get this book. It's a cool book to have. It's an attractive little book. All right, it's useful. You get a little dose of scripture every day, just one page, one little page. This is the daily reading. You get a dose of scripture, a little bit of reflection on it. So get the book. Everyone has the book except for you. All right? Don't be left out in the cold without the book that everyone has. You don't want to be alone, do you? You don't have to be, though. Get the book and join everybody else. Was that a good pitch? Excellent. I These books are going to just fly off the shelves now. All right. I love you people, and I'm saying goodbye. Have a great rest of the week. Older calendar people, happy upcoming Dormition on Tuesday, okay? And yes, indeed, the Dormition of our most glorious lady, the most holy Theotokos. So hop on the wagon if you haven't been doing the fast, perhaps, all right? And get ready for the feast. All right, I love you. Thanks for signing on. Join our audio podcasts. Get something from the gift shop or the USB sticks, the shiny USB sticks with catechetical material for your Sunday school class. We have parts 1 and 2 of the Divine Liturgy course, very popular. We have audio for your drive to work or your drive to school on prayer and spirituality and all sorts of topics, the Holy Fathers, on holy female saints. Check all of that out here. Don't hesitate. Do it today. Bye, everybody. I'm finally leaving. Bye. Bye.